Yep. This is an excerpt from Draw the Circle. Father.
You want to hear a joke? Yes, you want to hear a joke, right? Because this is very, very good joke. Okay. An elderly Indian man, right? He calls his son in New York and he says, I hate to ruin your day, but I have to tell you that your mother and I are divorcing. 45 years of misery is enough. Very worried, the son says, but Dad, what are you talking about? The father says, we are sick of each other and I am sick of talking about this. So you call your sister in Chicago and tell her. Frantic, the son, he calls his sister, who is furious. She says, like hell they're getting divorced. And immediately she calls her father and she screams at him. She said, you are not getting a divorce. Don't do a single thing until I get there. I'm calling brother back. We'll both be there tomorrow. Until then, don't do a thing. And then she hangs up. Then the old man, he turns to his wife and he says, oh, they're coming for Thanksgiving and paying their own travel fare, he did. That is good joke. Holidays are good. They make you clean the house tip to top.
Mother.
Your daddy, stop cleaning so hard. You're going to break your back. I mean, she's not the Queen of England. I don't know why we decided to have these people over for Thanksgiving anyway. Don't think I am making anything special for them. And none of this turkey nonsense. Whatever we have, they have to eat.
Molly.
We are about to go spend Thanksgiving with his family, right? The same people who don't want to see him for 2 years. And you know what he says to me? His parents are my parents. And when they grow old, they're going to come live with us. These are people that don't have any pictures of him in the house past high school. These are people who don't want to know anything about his life, about me. How are they going to come live with us?
Nick, a friend from high school.
She was a friend in high school. Shireen wasn't like the other girls, right? I mean, she dressed kind of weird, but I just figured she needed a way to rebel, you know, because her parents were so strict. Do you know, if she brought home a B, she'd get in trouble? Man, I brought home a B, I'd get money. Alright, for prom, I mean, I guess she did spend a lot of time picking out my tops, but I don't know, I didn't think anything about it, right? I mean, it's her prom, I'll wear whatever she wants me to wear. I don't care. But then, I had never seen her in a dress, ever, until prom. And it was just like, wow. I mean, her hair, it was all wrapped in this thing with little white flowers in it, and she wasn't wearing her army vest or bandana. She was like all in this long black velvet dress. And it kind of blew my mind. And I wasn't the only one. I mean, everyone was really floored to see her looking like that. I mean, she was beautiful. Like a real girl.
Mother.
I already had one son, so of course I pray for my second child to be a doctor. But you know, Shireen has been one long headache since the time she became a teenager. Everything must be an argument. American teenagers, everything is drugs and sex and getting pregnant. I know, I am a pediatrician, I know how these things work. And we were strict, of course, you know, they had to study hard, both of them. But they're both valedictorians, they both go to good colleges. But then when Shireen gets to New York, where her college is, she begins hanging out with red hair, blue hair, homosexual, Madonna, Michael Jackson. Everyone has more influence over your kids than you do. No matter, I was the one who slaved like a dog. I asked her, I say, Shireen, why did you have to cut off all of your hair? In such a stupid thing, she says. She wants people to be less judgmental. Well, people are going to judge you. They see you and your bald head and they'll think you're a freak. I didn't want her to come home, my own child. You know, but people talk. My patients might have seen her. 10 minutes of insanity, and it's going to take a whole year to fix. This never would have happened if we'd stayed in India. This country is morally bankrupt. Yes, all of the politicians everywhere having affairs and with no sense of decency. Do you know, the first time I saw her with no hair, she had this one braid coming out of the top of her head like she's some Hare Krishna. I used to have dreams, actual dreams, where I snuck into her room at night and cut it off.
Father.
This country was very strange at first, right? A pizza, a snow tire, and Halloween. But, oh, you know, we have so many friends here that we can speak our own language and enjoy some spicy food together. we spend all the holidays together, right? The Christians took New Year's, but our holiday was Halloween, Thanksgiving. Everyone came to our place. We had turkey, biryani, Indian, American, all rolled into one. We kind of masala. And then the kids, they'd all be running around playing games in the basement and fighting and yelling and eating and screaming. It was so nice, you know? But that year, it was 1994, we had to cancel all the holidays. If people had seen her looking like that, it would have been very bad.
Rabia, Dean's niece, a child of 5.
Daddy says that we can either spend a stressful Thanksgiving in Connecticut with Yema and Dada and Daddy's brother Shireen, or we can spend it in traffic trying to get to Tata and Pati's. Daddy says that holidays are about stress, and families are about stress. Daddy says that individually, Dada is a great guy, and Yema, as long as you don't talk about Shireen, she's nice too, and Shireen is interesting and creative and talks about feelings a lot, but as long as he doesn't have to see them all at once, because otherwise they're a nightmare. I don't like nightmares. But if you want my opinion, I want to go to Connecticut because Amma's family doesn't eat meat and I want to have a turkey.
Jen, a friend from high school.
Okay, I remember it was right after she shaved her head. Well, he shaved his head. Well, he was still Shireen then, so I'm not sure which pronoun to use, you know? But, well, anyway. So, after she shaved her head, maybe Christmas, we were all hanging out in my parents' kitchen when she told us that she was a bisexual. Well, duh, she shaved her head. I mean, you're either a lesbian or you have cancer, right? But then, in the spring, her parents threatened to stop paying for college because they were kind of freaked out by the, But then Shireen threatened to join the military, which was so G.I. Jane. But, that's just kind of the way Shireen and her parents work, and who could bluff who, until the fall, because that's when Shireen started seeing a therapist and dropped out of college. I mean, you have to understand, Shireen was voted like the most likely to get a PhD by the age of 25 or something. But then I remembered how this one time in high school, Shireen had shown me her hands, and there were all these little cuts on them, and I made her promise never to do it again. So anyway, it was winter break, right? And I was home, and we were at Borders, and I was telling Shireen how disgusting it was she was smoking now and how she was going to get cancer and die, but she went outside anyway. So I'm sitting at the table, and her journal is there. And I mean, it's not like I opened it. I may have moved the book that was on top of it, but I didn't open it. And I will never forget the page that I saw. She used really pretty lettering, right? Like you'd see in a greeting card. And I still remember this. At the top of the page it said, 10 ways to die. 1, overdose, possible brain damage, probable puking. 2, step in front of a speeding car, might end up a paraplegic, painful. 3, shoot yourself in the head, need access to gun, possible brain damage if you miss. It went on and on.
Mother.
I need to retire. My legs are aching. But then, if I retire, my mind will dig and I'll end up in China. At least at work, I'm too busy to think. And that is why Shireen is so messed up. She began seeing these therapists and they encouraged her to stop her life and think too much. Now she's becoming one of these deviants. We told her, we knew the only way to make her straighten out was to make her choose. We said, if you want to hang out with weirdos, you pay for your own college. It's your choice. But then we find out she is having this therapy. And then the next thing you know, she's left school. She's coming home with these awful tattoos. And then worse than that, she is making scars on her arms every week. Abnormal behavior. And I told her, who will hire you with arms like that? Huh? Who is going to marry you looking like that? Oh, but anything her mother says is automatically wrong. I still remember like it was yesterday. Her therapist calling us on the phone, telling us she must go to the hospital again. And Shireen is standing there mumbling with something in her mouth. And I know she has been hanging out with these druggies, So I think she has some pot or something in her mouth. I have to chase her through the house. I say, you give it to me. You give me that marijuana or whatever you have in your mouth. And then to have her open her mouth and take out a razor blade.
Dr. Erickson.
1-month case study summary. Patient continues to engage in self-harm to cope with her suicidal ideations. Her work with Dr. Masters to find the appropriate medication continues. 3-month summary. Patient continues to insist that I must be gay, though she seems well aware that I'm married. She distrusts heterosexual men. She has recently switched from rebelling against the community to working with it and has been spending time in both the painting studio and the theater. After 6 months, Shireen seems to genuinely trust our therapeutic relationship. She recently reported 2 dreams. One she labeled a nightmare, while the other one she viewed as exciting. In the nightmare, Shireen looks into a mirror and sees the face of Cher staring back at her. Upon seeing the long black hair in the mirror, she screams and wakes herself up. In the other dream, Shireen is in a deserted parking lot under a truck. She pulls down her pants to see that she is growing a penis. She made it quite clear that I was to refrain from any Freudian interpretations, which can only mean that she's made them already. 9 months. Shireen's better able to express her feelings, but she feels easily overwhelmed by them. The medication she's on now seems only to make her more agitated. She feels that she's getting worse. This comes not coincidentally, I think, just after her parents have said that they will no longer pay for her stay here. And yet, even as she's on edge in our sessions, I see her finding herself in her role as facilitator of the community meeting. She has a definite sense of purpose. She's able to balance the community's needs in a way that she's not able to balance her own. I find myself feeling proud of her and angry when she talks about killing herself.
Father.
Everyone's a scoundrel. Everyone, they just want to take your money. This hospital, you're just a money machine for them. They bleed us dry. She's there a year, still she's not better, and now they say if we do not keep paying, her condition could get worse. It's blackmail. They think we're just some idiot immigrants and they can build their new houses on our blood and sweat. I am taking her out of there. She's completely brainwashed. No, but then Shireen had to go and call all of our friends and tell them about this Stockbridge hospital, about this gay thing. Now Mummy doesn't want to talk to our friends anymore. We are home alone and everything is shit. You know, Mummy says these American kids, they throw their parents away. But here in America, it's okay because the parents throw their kids away too. I don't know. I mean, maybe she's right.
Lucia.
So I'm just cleaning this hotel room like I always do. You know, I got my vacuum cleaner, my Lysol, I'm listening to my boleros on my headphones. And what you know, but I see on the TV an envelope. Like an envelope, like the kind of envelopes that people leave tips in. I know, right? Like nobody tips in the shithole. So I think, Dios mío, muchas gracias, because I need this money. There's no money. It's a letter, and you can't believe what it says. Dear friends and family, I am sorry the pain is more than I can bear and I can't make it go away. I am staying alive for other people and it's not enough anymore. I just want to go home. I wish you all the strength I never had. Goodbye, Deen. Just then, in the doorway, a young Indian girl pops in the door and she's like, oh shit, because she knows I know. And how could I not know? I mean, she's got the bandage on her wrist and I'm not a stupid, you know. So I say the name on the bottom of the letter, Deen. It's her. In my head, I hear my mama talking about the Bible and sinners and going to hell and all of that stuff. But, well, don't you know, like curiosity got the best of me. And so I asked her, what did you do? And she says, she came to Deerfield to do her laundry. When her laundry was done, she had a meal. When the meal was done, she wrote a letter. And when the letter was done, she broke an ashtray and tried to go home. So I said, home? Where do you live? And she said, with God. And then she says, she let everyone go. Dr. Erickson, Dr. Masters, her parents, everyone she loved. And she cut vertically like you're supposed to, and she tried to keep it in the sink so I wouldn't have too much to clean up. She touches the bandage on her wrist. And then she says, but she couldn't cut deep enough. And it was because there was a little voice inside her soul, and it was God. And not for anyone else, but for God. She tried this life thing one more time. Because God will punish you, I ask. She shakes her head. She says, to know that someone loves her that much, that unconditionally, she feels like maybe she can do the impossible. Live. And that's it.